Hey, Jules Plus Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. People, this is a really special day. I'm going to say I'm more thrilled than proud because I just am so happy to be able to celebrate 90 days, 90 days of clean eating. Somebody was asking about these chips, and these are 12-step chips, right? Alcoholics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Sex Addicts Anonymous, the Anonymouses go on and on. I bought myself a six-pack. That sounds pretty funny, I have to admit. What I mean is, I think it takes six for the year. So first they have the general chip. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Then there's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months. And maybe the year is in there, but I don't think so. Anyway, I bought myself a pack because I wanted to be accountable. So some people are like, well, Juliana, I don't get it. I mean, you made a ton of videos. You've talked about eating clean forever. Like, what happened, right? And if you haven't been following me, maybe you didn't see the decline of the Roman Empire because I fell hard, like hard. So for about a year and a half, I literally was just all over the place with my food. And, you're like, well, I just came to find out how to stay clean for 90 days. I know. And I'm going to tell you, the solution to stay clean for 90 days is to eat more food. Not just any food. It has to be God's food, right? Like fruit, vegetables, healthy plant-based fats. To eat more, which again I'm going to share. But I just wanted to give my backstory a little because some people know it, some people don't. But I always had some form of disordered eating. Like even at 3 years old, I remember pouting if the piece of cake wasn't as big as it was for my brothers. And I'm 3 years old. My brothers were, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 6'2", 6'6", big guys. And if my piece of cake wasn't as big as theirs, I was just like, then I don't want it, at 3 years old. And that's no exaggeration. Like, I absolutely remember. Then for just years growing up, I mostly was a super active person, right? So because I was always involved in swim team, drill team, basketball, dance, like all the things that I did, I probably was able to eat more and junk food in particular and not carry it on my body. So it wasn't until high school, like junior year, that the weight kind of caught up with me a little. And then I would do all the games. I'd do every diet. I'd starve. I tried everything on the market. And that helped too. I mean, screwed up my metabolism, but it did hold some weight back. And again, even in college, I was still swimming and just, keeping busy. But my binging and my ability to play all the games was catching up with me. And so over my lifetime, and again, I'm 2 years younger than God. Hi, Father. In my lifetime, I literally lost and gained 100 pounds about 6 times, and I was on my way to my seventh time in this last year and a half. I've done a couple videos, and I encourage you to watch them on insulin resistance in particular, and why the body finally just can't play any of the games anymore. And I think it's why we see so many people, you know, ballooning into the same body types, because that is what the human body looks like, when it's broken and not functioning. So about a year ago, I kind of started looking into what is insulin resistance and what is causing some of my stuff. And I knew I certainly wasn't raw vegan. I had been. And if you go back even just 2 years on videos, you'll see a super thin face and actual collarbone and stuff, which I am barely possessing right now, and it's just coming back. Okay, so the thing was, about 4 years ago when I first started to ponder becoming vegan, and I knew nothing about it, and I wasn't even aware of plant-based or anything. When I first started to ponder that, I came upon kind of a phenom, in the vegan health realm, and started following that individual, and they really recommended, and I get it, you can only go from what you know, but they recommended, I'm 5'6", and for my age, that I should have between maybe 1,400 and 1,600 calories a day. And there was a lot of game playing, which was handed to me as well. And I come from obsessive dieting and total insanity, regarding my food. So I was just like, oh yeah, I'm all in. So, it was the kind of thing where that isn't even enough to manage just my basic metabolic rate, 14 to 1,600 calories. Like that's the calories of a little kid. I think babies are 1,200, little kids are 1,400. It certainly wasn't enough for an adult. But it was the type of thing where it was like, well, if you're still hungry, just eat another pound of greens because it'll be filling. And a pound of greens is 100 calories, right? If you're still hungry, just drink more water. It was that kind of thing. And I came from all of that. So I was really good at playing the game. The thing was, none of it was sustainable. And I was white knuckling to no end. And there was no way that I was going to be able to do that for life. And I knew it. So it became a thing where I would do amazing for like 4 days or maybe even 6. And then I'd fall and I'd binge my head off. And it would take me 1 day of clean and then 2 days of not clean. And then clean again for 5 or 6 days, It was just this ongoing pattern and a lot of shame. I felt terrible, and how come everybody else can do it but me, and I'm so weak, and la la la. And then finally I came upon Freely the Banana Girl, who's also the frugivore diet on anything like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And, she was talking about abundance rather than restricting. She kept saying, as long as it is God's food, as long as it is the fruit, vegetables, the healthy fat, from the nuts to the avocados, in moderation and all of that, you can eat as much as you want. And you should eat as much as you want. And that 1,600 calories wasn't even half the calories that I should be consuming. Well, I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, you obviously don't know that I'm in my 50s. You don't know, like, what my body, like, there's no way. Okay, I get why young people can do that. There's no way I can do that. And she was like, no, not only can you, but you have to do it. Like, you literally need to, so that your body can trust you again, so it can dare to start releasing weight. And I was like, whatever. But there was so much shame behind just the food, the money I was spending, hiding in my car, consuming things on the side. Like, it was so bad. And I was just putting on weight hand over fist. And I was like, going to apply for my 600-pound life. I'm not kidding. Like, I've seen it before. I've been there before. I weighed 340 before. And I was just like, I am on my way there again. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to look at Raw Till 4 again by Freely the Banana Girl. And I'm going to just see, because it's plant-based, which I absolutely believe in. I don't do anything that ever had a mother. And so I was like, you know what? I could do this. I love fruit. I could eat a ton of fruit all day and enjoy every bit of it and just have a really healthy meal at night and incorporate my grains. Maybe I could do it. So I went ahead and made a commitment on July 1st, which was 90 days ago. And I made that commitment, and I decided, I don't care how hard it is to get that food in, I am going to weigh and measure, not for restriction, but for abundance. And I'm going to make sure I get 3,000 calories. And I may even get 3,500 calories. I'm going to put it in Chronometer, which is an app that, tells you about your macros, meaning protein, fat, carbs. And I am going to write my food down, which I hate doing and hated doing, but I'm going to do it, because if I don't, I'm going to die. I was really just getting to that point where again, no end in sight. I'd just been through a year of floundering and freaking. So on July 1st, I made myself eat. I got to about 2,400 calories. The next day I got to like 27. And after that, I was doing 3 no matter what. And then I just went from there. So in this time, 90 days, 3 months, I have not weighed myself. Okay, I'm not weighing myself. But the clothes that I was wearing, that I had no business wearing, let's be fair. They were about 2 sizes, at least 2 sizes too small. But I was pouring myself into them because I just couldn't stand the idea of purchasing more clothes. And so, muffin top, like just trying to do whatever I could to get those clothes on and keep them. I did buy a couple of tops, but I got them really cheap because I knew I have better clothes that ultimately I will fit back into. Anyway, so I went ahead and just started doing that, and it was really scary. But according to my clothes, I did not put on a bunch of extra weight. Now, this might be because I was already binging at huge numbers of calories, and it was a bunch of food like products and, disgusting junk food vegan, if you will. And so it may be because I was already doing that. There was definitely an adjustment. There were days where some things were really tight, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to buy more clothes, and I just don't want to. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, the month mark, things got a little more comfortable. By the second mark, I started noticing my cheekbones were coming back, and that was a big deal to me. What was instantly becoming a very double chin was starting to go. And like my wrist, like actually having the bone on my wrist was coming back, in this last, couple of weeks. And let's be fair, it's only been 12 weeks altogether. And the beauty of it is I have not had to white knuckle a single day. It's really funny. It's super interesting to go from starvation and being scared to death that I'm going to accidentally eat too much, and what other game can I play to make sure that I feel satiated, and can I just hurry up and go to bed and eat again tomorrow, to go from all of that to, how am I going to get all this food in? Have I had 3,000 calories yet? Like, super funny. What's interesting though, it's not that much, like now that I'm 3 months in, it's just not that much work, meaning I can do 1,000 calories in oranges for breakfast. I can do 2 super smoothies for, another 1,000 or 1,200 calories at lunch. And then I can have an amazing salad with fun things in it, right? Like tofu or whatever, or I can make a big thing of rice, or I can even have burritos if I want, whatever it is, for another 800 or so calories. And so I can hit 3,000 much easier than I ever realized. But the beauty of it is in the chronometer is that with all that food and with all those varieties that I do, and I do a large variety, it never exceeds like 3% fat. And that was Fraley's whole thing. She was like, you know what? I know you're thinking you want to be raw vegan, and I have been raw vegan, and I'd love to be raw vegan again. And she's like, but my goal right now is to just help you be stable, just to make sure you're not binging, just to make sure that you're still eating God's food and not going crazy with packaged nonsense. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. And I am absolutely willing to do that for now. And so here I am, 3 months in. No white knuckling, no looking around, no going to parties and thinking, oh, I want to bite so bad, or zero. I have so much nutrition in my body that I have no desires. I'm not kidding you. Like, I have been in many situations in these 3 months, and never once have I thought, oh man, I wish I could just have a bite, or, you know what, I'll just have a small piece. Nah, and nah. And I'm stoked. I am so stoked. So I just want you to know, for those of you who are white knuckling, who are struggling, who are constantly lying, binging, eating, food you just put in the trash strategically, of course, so that it doesn't touch the edges, right? Not being able to wait for something that's too frozen, not being able to not take that bite when your mouth is already on fire from whatever it is. For those people, might I suggest that you are not eating enough? Who can believe that my binging was arrested by me eating more? Come on, how brilliant is that? Come on, air high five. Anyway, so that's where I'm at right now, you guys, but I will share with you again. I have great things to share, and I will happily be back with 120. They don't make a chip for 120 days, but maybe I'll make my own. I'll be here, you guys, because I finally found something that has given me a tremendous amount of freedom. And as long as I get enough calories, I have no desire to binge. Sit with that, right? All right, my friends, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, best of all, know that binging doesn't have to be a thing if you're eating enough and nourishing your body. And for that, we're both blessed.